Hello, NU alumni, friends, and fans. My name is Todd Callan of the Niagara Sports Network, and I'm happy to join you for the State of the University Purple Eagle Address. We are joined by the Director of Athletics, Simon Gray, in his 8th season here on Monteagle Ridge. Simon, first of all, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate you being here.
All right, thank you. Simon, we want to dive really deep into the athletics program, and I want to start with the success of the women's swimming and diving team. For the first time ever, folks, the Niagara University women's swimming and diving team captured the MAAC championship. And Simon, I know you were there to see it. Let's bring our viewers up to date a little bit on that experience and what a great accomplishment it was for the team and for the university.
Yeah, I feel so wonderful for the team and just the extreme pleasure that they were able to reach that night based on their championship and the hard work that they had put in. You know, in the 8 years that I've been here, Todd, we've been working toward comprehensive excellence amongst all of our 18 Division I programs. And for the first time in those 8 years, this was our chance to hoist a trophy and to be the MAAC champions in a sport. And we hope it doesn't take that long the next time, but certainly the work that head coach Eric Bugby, his staff, and all of those student athletes put in was exemplary. And one of my favorite parts of the whole event, Todd, was how the support was there outside of the team. So the men's team was on deck and they were having a wonderful time supporting the women's team, but then other MAAC teams as well ended up cheering for the Purple Eagles, and I was on deck as they won that last race. And to hear 3 other teams cheering for Niagara, that was really special because that goes to the quality type of people that we have in our program.
You and I had a chance to visit with some of the members of the team, and it was a great combination of senior leadership and some veteran swimmers sprinkled in with some newcomers, but we also visited with MAAC Coach of the Year, Eric Bugby, and I think we should spend a minute or two talking about the difference he has made on the program.
Yeah, Eric's done a terrific job in who he's bringing into the program, but then also developing them. So he's bringing in freshmen, he's bringing in transfers, he's molding them into the culture of the program, which includes championships now, right? I mean, that's the goal, that's the standard. And when we honored Eric at a staff meeting after the championship, I said to him, you know, your program has now set the standard for all of us to live up to. So he's certainly done a terrific job in a short period of time of bringing in the type of student athletes that we want on this campus and who are achieving the ultimate in their competitive endeavors.
Now we'll take a look at some of the fall sports and some excitement here at Niagara University. Women's soccer with the MAAC Offensive Player recognized, women's volleyball, the Libero of the Year once again. Talk a little bit about the MAAC Players of the Year and some recognition for the fall programs.
You know, it's interesting. We're always out for team success, right? We always want our teams to do well and to move up and do better than they've done in the past. And the only way to get there, right, is with good coaching and then excellent student athletes, and sure, oftentimes there are tremendous individuals that help, but it's a team effort. So it's nice to have our individual players of the year, and they certainly deserve a lot of credit for their performances, but it's more about how that plays into the overall structure of the team and how it can lift those programs. So we had several teams in the fall finish in the top half of the league and earned prominent positions in the postseason tournament. Unfortunately, we weren't able to win championships in some of those sports, but we're setting the table for winning those in the future.
Not only was there recognition at the MAAC level, but also some national statistical leaders here at Niagara University in men's soccer and also in women's basketball. Just a little bit about those accomplishments where it's not just winning the MAAC, but across the nation, none better than some Purple Eagles.
Yeah, so it's neat because, you know, when you win Player of the Year, you get a plaque, and when you win a conference championship, you get a trophy. When you're an NCAA leader, they send 2 plaques, and the student athlete gets one of the plaques, and then we get one of the plaques to display prominently. So wonderful to have the goals per game leader in men's soccer. I mean, that's pretty impressive. A sport that's all built around scoring goals to win, right? That we had the nation's leader in goals per game. And then also in women's basketball, we had we play a tempo that forces turnovers. And so for us to have the nation's leader in steals per game, who also set a record with our program for single season steals record, that was really special.
Nothing better than looking at the leaderboard across the nation and seeing number 1, Niagara. Now let's step on to the ice rink. Earlier in the season, the men's hockey team, another landmark win. This brought some national attention to the program.
Right.
taking down the 10th team in the country, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Big win for Jason Lammer's club.
Yeah, so we talk to Jason every year about his non-conference schedule. Like, he doesn't shy away from anybody, and he takes on some of the more prominent programs within college hockey, Notre Dame being no exception, and they do very well on a grand scale and in the NCAA tournament. And we were, we played really well when we were in South Bend on the weekend, and then able to beat them, number 10. That certainly raised some eyebrows, not only in college hockey but around the country. And I heard from a lot of alums after that game that were really pleased with, taking down Notre Dame, who's just such a brand, right? I mean,
Right.
when you can beat Notre Dame, that is something really special. But our women's soccer team beat Syracuse, and our lacrosse team beat Marquette earlier this year. And so we're winning some of these games against very prominent and heavily resourced programs. Again, a testament to the hard work that our coaches and athletes are putting in.
Simon, I'm sure that fans do the same thing that I do when the schedules come out for the various teams that they want to follow. They'll circle Notre Dame, they'll circle Marquette, but they'll also circle Canisius.
Yeah.
When is the home game against Canisius? When are we heading to Buffalo to take on the Golden Griffins? Second year in a row that the Purple Eagles win the Canal Cup over the Canisius College Golden Griffins. Talk about that accomplishment.
I think rivalries are fascinating in and of themselves, and you never quite know when it's going to take on with somebody, because when we recruit people from Canada or around the United States that aren't necessarily from Buffalo, Western New York, do they know what the Niagara-Canisius rivalry means? When I came 8 years ago, I certainly knew who our rival was.
Right.
But you don't know until you're, like you said, you see the calendar. People anticipate those games, and to have that friendly rivalry, for the most part, with Canisius is really special, and is something that we can look forward to each sport, right, when we get to compete against them. And the Canal Cup is set up differently, so sometimes it's based on regular season, sometimes it's based on championship results, just how the sport is set up and how the competition is set up. So we were extremely proud to win last year, and we're even more proud to repeat this year, and to have clinched it by the winter seasons is really impressive.
That is excellent. Next area I wanted to go to was Father Maher receiving an extension as MAAC president, and just what that can mean for the university to have Father Maher's steady hand kind of leading the conference.
Yeah, so Father Maher is a tremendous leader in general on our campus, but also within the athletics realm. And it's been extremely helpful to me that he served on the NCAA Presidential Forum and then on the Board of Governors. So the highest level of governance in collegiate athletics, Father Maher has served on. And so it's helped me as a leader to be able to learn from him in several aspects, but primarily around his knowledge base in collegiate athletics. And now he's taken that to be the chair of the Board of Presidents within the MAAC. And the extension is certainly a reflection on the way he leads and how his leadership is incredibly important in these tumultuous times as the landscape of collegiate athletics shifts.
One of the areas that I wanted to go to next was the basketball programs, games played at the Gallagher Center, and locker rooms. Locker room updates, just a tremendous trip down the hallway there at the Gallagher Center. Talk a little bit about the importance of those updates to the locker rooms for the student athletes.
So when we talk about executive leadership and we talk about Father Maher, we also need to look at our Board of Trustees. And the chairman of our Board of Trustees right now is a gentleman named Ed Brennan. And he has a wonderful look at the university and its setting and focusing on our priorities. And that's something I'm always challenged with within athletics. What are your priorities, and what can help lift not only the athletics department, but my feel is that our responsibility is to lift the profile of the entire institution. And it takes a lot of work and effort from a lot of people to get us to that place. So when we think about recruiting basketball student athletes to come in, it's certainly a high-profile sport and has been for years here at Niagara University. One of the things that student athletes are impressed with in recruiting is facilities. And where do they spend a lot of their time? That's the locker rooms and the hallways. So it's not only an experience for our student athletes that are here now that they get to experience in the women's program, in the men's program, a new and sleek area for their locker rooms, but it's also the setting that it puts them in. We also have our volleyball locker room in that space, and so it has experienced some changes on the outside, and our next phase is to renovate the inside. And we have a lot of other locker rooms being built through our Kiernan renovation, which I know we'll talk about. So the home of where our student athletes spend a lot of time and prepare for their craft, which is practices and their performances and competitions, we're upgrading those. And we think that's not only improving our brand, but improving our competitive skill set.
Certainly with my close vantage point to the men's basketball program, as I see some former Purple Eagles come by and they're walking in the hallway and going into the locker room, it certainly does resonate with them, and they're very proud of it, and they like what's been done. The next area I wanted to go to, Simon, is talking about the women's team. Let's focus on ladies first. Coach Jada Pierce's club, you talked about the different style and that havoc defense that they were able to create throughout the conference. It led to their first conference winning record in 17 years. Junior point guard Angel Parker, her younger sister, freshman MAAC Rookie of the Year, Aaliyah Parker. Talk a little bit about the ladies program, and you can certainly utilize Angel and Aaliyah's contributions.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Coach Pierce would say right off the bat is that it's a team effort, right? Angel and Aaliyah certainly are terrific leaders and received all the accolades that they deserve, but the culture around this program was as strong as it's ever been in my tenure here this year. And you could see that. We have stars for sure, but we also have a team that works together. And so Angel, as we talked about earlier, is setting the mark in steals, right? And that plays in perfectly to our system, but our system wouldn't be what it is without her. And so for her to be on the first team All-MAAC is a great recognition for her. And then for her sister to, I think it was 8 times, she was named MAAC Rookie of the Week, and then to be named, Freshman of the Year, Rookie of the Year in the league, I think was very well deserved. But again, if you talk to Angel and Aaliyah, they'd be the first ones to tell you that it wouldn't have been possible without our teammates.
I love the points you make, and the way they play, you can't just run 5 or 6 players out there and try and pressure the ball for 40 minutes. It simply does not work. You need a deep bench, you need a supportive cast, and Jada Pierce had all of that in a season that will be remembered for a long time here around Niagara University. Let's step off the floor into the classroom. A great job done by the women's program. Team GPA overall 3.0 during the fall semester. Student athlete again, talk about how important that is.
And so this is something that we really drive home in all of our programs. In 2021, we had over a 3.4 GPA across all of our student athletes. It's absolutely remarkable. In the fall of this year, we had over a 3.2 GPA, around 350 student athletes. That's just phenomenal. Our #1 major is biology for our student athletes. So they're taking extremely difficult courses. We have a lot of nurses, we have education majors, we have a lot of business majors, sport management. It runs the gamut. We are very diverse in our majors for our student athletes, for scholar athletes. So for them to do that well is incredibly impressive, but it's also a testament to our coaches who are focusing on that in the recruiting process. They want people who are not only focused, but have the academic aptitude to succeed in college. And so women's basketball is no different. They come in, they have a real dedication to the classroom and to progressing toward that degree and then their career.
As we switch over now to the men's basketball program and head coach Greg Paulus, there were a couple very notable individual accomplishments during the season, right? Marcus Hammond and Sam Iorio each scoring their 1,000th point. They did it during the season as members of the Purple Eagles. We have talked at length about their team games, but they are played by individuals, and some really nice individual accomplishments for those two gentlemen.
Yeah, it was neat. And the other thing I would like to focus on with these two is that one is a transfer and one has been here since his freshman year. And that's the course of our business these days. You're recruiting at a freshman, right? You bring people in and hope to develop them for 4 years, but almost as prominent right now are transfers who are coming to you for a shorter period of time. So Sam didn't score all 1,000 points at Niagara, but we were fortunate enough to be able to celebrate with him when he did. Marcus scored all 1,000 while he was here plus, and really developed from a promising freshman to one of the stars of the league when he was here, an all-conference member. And he embodies the type of student athlete that we want here. He worked extremely hard. He developed during his time here. He put in the effort in the classroom, on campus, and in practice to get better and really become the type of player that he was.
One of the things that you bring up, it just makes me think of this kind of on the fly, is talk about your men's basketball head coach Greg Paulus and how that may be a bit of a delicate balancing act, right? Trying to incorporate some transfers that are coming in that you need to have an impact versus players 2 or 3 years into the program that may take on a different role. I would think that's a delicate move.
We could spend hours talking about the challenges that our coaches face right now. As our world changes And I'm talking about collegiate athletics,
Yep.
not to be over dramatic, but as several major structures shift within collegiate athletics, it's made the coach's job harder. And one of those major changes is the transfer portal. It's become more and more year to year of an access point coming in and going out, unfortunately, at times. So it is a challenge for our coaches, our head coaches and our assistant coaches, to work the balance of who's coming in, do we need them right away, or can we bring a transfer in who can accomplish these three things that we know we need right away while other folks develop.
Non-conference record for the team for the third time in the decade, over the 500 mark. And the men's team picked number 10 in the preseason poll. And I think that can fuel a team. I'm not sure how Coach Paulus utilized it, but here's a team again that secured a first round bye, finishing 5th in the regular season. Last time they had consecutive byes, you have to go back to 08-09 and 09-2010. Again, talk a little bit about surpassing expectations.
Yeah, and I think it goes to consistency. The seasons are long, and they're hard, to get up every night as you're building your program. And Greg is in that stage of building his program. Jade has been here a little bit longer, but she's also rebuilding her program in this new culture that they have. Yeah. And so I think it's a real testament to the focus that Greg and his staff have put in, that they were able to earn this bye again, and to be prepared to do well through what is a grueling season. And I have to tell you, Todd, they did really well in the league, but as well as they competed with Ohio State and Xavier in that first week, I heard from as many people around that, because that's the freshness of a new season, but it's also the compete level that you can see and what those coaches are bringing.
Such a great point. I love thinking back to those early November days when it's a two-possession game inside of 90 seconds against some top 25 teams. That was how the season opened for the men's program. We want to talk about their performance in the classroom, though. 11 players on the team with a GPA of 3.0 or higher, had 3 named to the All-MAAC academic team, and also 2 achieving Dean's List. Talk a little bit about your pride in that success as well.
I think they go together. I mean, people who are succeeding in all areas of their life tend to succeed athletically. And so if you're taking care of your business in the classroom, if you're being a good citizen on our campus, I think you're going to play better. And that's where our program is. We have tremendous individuals who are focused on doing the right things in the classroom, getting above a 3.0, right? Staying on progress towards their degree. They're also ready, and I'm not just talking about men's basketball here, I'm talking about other programs as well. They're also ready anytime the food bank calls or someone on campus needs something to be done. They are there and willing to help. And then that's why people are ready and willing to support them when it comes to their competitive games as well. But I think all of that plays in together, and that's why I feel really confident in where we are with those programs now.
It's such a great point. It's the entire person. Yeah. This isn't just a left-handed defenseman. Right. This is the entire student athlete that you're bringing to Niagara University. Speaking of left-handed defensemen, let's go to Jason Lammer's hockey team. Todd. I do what I can. 3.63 grade point average during the fall semester. 24 student athletes over a 3.5 GPA. We're not talking goals against here. We're talking in the classroom. Jason Lammer's doing a great job.
And Jason, from his first day on this campus, focused on academic excellence in his program. And it's no surprise to those who know Jason and know where his heart is that his team excels at this level, but it's also still very impressive. I mean, the numbers, the GPA that hockey program pumps out on a consistent basis, it should not be overlooked, and you can't become immune to a team having a 3.6 GPA. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Another stat that I want to get to, Simon, the graduation rate at Niagara University, a record 95%. They're called student athletes for a reason. 95% graduation rate. Talk about that number.
Yeah, and in this conversation, we call them scholar athletes, right, Todd?
Yes.
So they are here. There's
Very
3 hallmarks of our program. We've talked about one of those pieces already, and we'll continue. That's competitive excellence, right? So we want people to come in, have a great experience, and part of that is winning and being a champion. We also want to develop servant leaders. So we want our scholar athletes on our campus to serve around campus and in the community. We do very well in those 2 so far, but where we're really excelling is in academic achievement. And this 95% is a record for our department in graduation success rate.
Wow.
So what our top priority for athletes to come here, and we tell recruits when they're on campus all the way through their time, is to get a diploma from Niagara University. We want them to graduate. So when we have a record 95% graduation success rate, it means our coaches, our administration, our university is putting our students in an environment where they can achieve their top priority of getting a degree.
As a play-by-play guy for the basketball team, I've been excited about putting on SportsCenter in the top 10, and are we going to have a fadeaway jumper at the end of the game to get on top 10? They had it in the hockey program. Ryan Nomofsky, number 2 spot on SportsCenter's top 10 plays of the day against Sacred Heart with that dramatic goal. Does the administration get as excited about something like that when you're going to be featured again? We know it at 11 o'clock, put on ESPN because Niagara's coming up.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate Kyle Barker and members of our public relations
Yes.
team, Brianna Jacobs and Sean Gillen, because they're on the forefront of that, right? They're always paying attention to not only putting on a terrific broadcast and pubbing our athletics department, but also, knowing what could be national and being prepared and ready at the jump to do that. But a really interesting side note here. So I was at the Sabres game this year when the Anaheim Ducks, I don't remember the names player, but they did sort of an alley-oop to score a goal, which I think is going to be the NHL goal of the year, most likely. And it was within the same time period that Nomofsky scored that goal, and I turned to whoever was next to me and said, I just saw the NHL goal of the year and college athletics goal of the year. How lucky am I? So we absolutely do get as excited around those type of just tremendous achievements.
That's excellent. I'm so glad that you brought up Kyle and Sean and Brianna, because now it's a world of, well, how many times can it be retweeted? And they are all over that. So that's great to bring them up. Next, let's go to the golf course, Niagara Falls Country Club. That has been the host for the Kist Classic. It's coming up again as we move on here in 2022. Monday, June 6th. Folks, circle that on your calendar. Join us at Niagara Falls Country Club for the Kist Classic. Registration is open. Let's talk a little bit about Kist and why this is an annual event that gets so much great support.
So we're going to talk more about fundraising here in a minute, I know, Todd, but in how that is the lifeline of our program and our improvement and getting better. This is our annual event, that our annual fundraising event. That's a lot of fun, right? So we get to go out on the course and honor a great man. I unfortunately didn't have the chance to know Kist when he was here as our head athletic trainer, what we refer to now as the director of sports medicine. But I have heard the stories and I have met the people that he impacted in his life, in his time here, and he was cut way too short. But his memory lives on by this event and also by his wife, Ann, who comes back and supports the event each year and brings members of her family and her friends back, and it's wonderful to have them at the country club each year. It's always a terrific day. There's a lot of spirit behind it. You would guess that, as we're supporting and Kist, but then also Niagara Athletics. So it's a really nice chance to be together with people and knowing that the proceeds are going to a good cause, and that's the experience of our student athletes.
And again, the common thread is Kist. So Monday, June 6th, 2022. Be sure to sign up. Don't get locked out. It promises to be a great day, and maybe we'll have sunny and 85, I think, like it was last year for the 2021 event. Simon, next I want to talk about the university's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Of course, that is first and foremost in so many minds, and Niagara certainly playing a big role in that.
Yeah, at the whole institution, right, and thank you for saying it that way. The whole institution is focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and within that, each sector is charged with and has the ultimate responsibility of employing that within ourselves. And so we have taken that to heart in athletics, and we've been at this for a long period of time, but there's a couple things I just wanted to focus on that are emblematic, I think, of our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion within athletics. And one of that is that we have created a position within our department that's an assistant athletic director for student athlete development. So they're focused, and their primary charge is to develop our student athletes during their time. But the second part of the title is inclusive excellence. And those go hand in hand, right? So that individual also has the great responsibility to develop our student athletes around diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging, and making sure that all of our student athletes are able to feel that and then also promote that in their lives and their lives with others. At the same time, we have a diversity and inclusion coordinator in our student athlete advisory committee. So that's a new officer position that we put in place. And we also developed a Student Athletes of Color Alliance, which they have deemed SACA, Student Athletes of Color Alliance. And so the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator is also an officer in SACA, so that we have that synergy between the two student-run clubs in our department. So those are just a couple of many initiatives that we've taken on in the DEI space.
That's excellent. And I love that it's not just the catchy acronym for the day, but this is a chance for students to go in and make a difference as members of SAC. That's just tremendous. Again, Niagara at the forefront of so many things. Next, let's talk about facility enhancements, and let's start with the golf program.
Yeah, so we're looking to bring an indoor facility to our golf program. And so you may be aware of the climate around Western New York and its impact on golf.
Somewhat.
But, yeah. So by the time our golf teams are getting outside on a regular basis, they're almost at their conference tournament. And so it's very challenging in the spring season. The fall's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
They can be outside in the fall and get to some events. But in the spring season, in order for them to be ready at the time they get to be outside and then to practice, and then also to go on to their conference championship, we're looking at bringing in an indoor facility in some respect on our campus. So we think that would be a really nice shot in the arm for our golf programs.
Excellent. Now, when you talk about the Gallagher Center, we'll go there next. Certainly the video boards over the last couple of years, that has improved the fan experience. Next, talking about new seating, different lighting, some changes to the end zone. What are some of the things that you can bring our viewers up to date there?
Yeah, so we believe that this summer we will have new lighting in the Gallagher Center and Dwyer Arena. It's not as easy to schedule those installs as you would imagine, right? But these are major projects that will give us a little bit of different options around lighting. It will focus the lighting in both venues on the competition space, and then the fan space will be a little bit darkened, much like you see in many professional arenas. It will also give us the opportunity to do some light show type things, which will enhance the experience. So that we're really looking forward to that change in the lighting at those two venues. At the same time, we need to look at the seating in those venues as well. It's a bit dated, and the opportunities for seating is different now in newer places. So it's not just the old bleachers or the old chair backs. If you can add in some low seating where there's a little bit more space, or some premium areas where you can sell to suites or the like to people, those are not only revenue producers, but they add a little bit of a different atmosphere for the ticket purchaser. And so we're looking at options in those two venues to upgrade our seating enhancements.
Next is the Kiernan Center. We hinted at it a little bit earlier. So many of the student body here at Niagara University go into the Kiernan Center locker rooms, coaches' offices, maybe some softball diamond work. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so really excited about this Kiernan Center project because it does improve the fitness and the wellness for our entire campus. It really is a campus-wide project. But as part of that project, Division I Athletics is going to benefit from full year-round locker rooms for programs that have not had that in the past, and updated and enhanced coaches areas, team areas for those programs that are housed in the Kiernan Center. So incredibly thankful for that project and excited for it to be unveiled for this next academic year.
And what makes it all possible? I think it starts with fundraising, right? I mean, fundraising, a big initiative. We're going to spend some time talking about the various fundraising priorities, but just talk about, globally how important fundraising it is and how it lets you do those enhancements and improvements that the student athletes will benefit from.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the softball field earlier as well, and that we've been fundraising over a period of time to get that project done.
Yep.
And oftentimes what happens in these projects, it's a combination of private money secured and then university investments as well. And so when those can work together, you get to do some special things like the baseball field, or what we're planning at the softball field is new turf, new fencing, and new structures for fans and press as well there for our broadcast. So that is to come, and look forward to that project as well. But again, back to your question about what fundraising can do, we're very thankful and appreciative of the resources that the university gives to us. But at the same time, it's our responsibility to go out and find additional resources to be able to do extra things or these bigger picture improvements that we're talking about.
Okay. One of the areas, of course, coaches, compensation, support staff. How does it impact recruiting? And then when you have the student athletes together and it's time for the season, day-to-day operations, travel, just the general well-being and the welfare of the student athlete, that's another area where the fundraising can really make a mark.
Right. So we've said this a couple times today, but the experience of our student athletes is number one on our list.
Yep.
There's a lot that goes into that experience, but oftentimes students are recruited to a coach, a coaching staff, right? Facilities plays a lot in, academics certainly plays a primary role, but they're coming to play a sport at an institution where that coach is. So for us to be able to recruit and retain the elite level coaching that I feel like we need and bears out in the championship experiences, that is a focus for us, is to improve the packages that we can offer to our coaches. So that is certainly a primary function of our fundraising, and then also we see the benefits of that in the experience of our student athletes. But their welfare goes beyond that.
Yes.
So it's their nutrition. Where are they working out? What kind of pick-me-ups can we give them after their workout? Whether it's a chocolate milk or a Pedialyte or a protein bar. Yeah. These are things that we are improving on as we go through the years. But it's a focus on the daily needs of our student athletes.
I think also team travel, I know I'm impacted by that a little bit, right? If the team can, get there by maybe a little bit quicker way, yeah. And they weren't, we weren't in the bus all night, they still got to get up for class in the morning. I think team travel is something that the players, it impacts them right away the next day in class, and how important it is that the university does such a great job to make that transition into the classroom as smooth as possible each day.
Right, and the travel is different depending on the teams.
Sure.
And depending on where they're going, what the team size is, how quickly the turnaround is, but we are focused on improving that. And so people that give to the Purple and White Club or give to a sport program in particular, those are some of the things that they can enhance. Sometimes it's a better trip. Sometimes it's going further. Sometimes it's traveling differently. But it gives the flexibility to our coaches to be able to provide a better experience.
And I guess it all wraps into exceeding standards set by the conference, staying competitive. We talked at the beginning about how the women's swimming and diving team, by capturing that MAAC championship, now the other programs at the university can see what it takes. Yeah. And the way that fundraising has helped achieve those goals and recognition of excellence. I want you to talk a little bit about excellence within the athletics program here at Niagara University and how that's recognized.
So social media has changed the world.
Yes.
Was that an understatement?
Yes. I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Everything we have, everything we do is available to everybody. So when you think about your facilities or you think about your uniforms or your gear, all of that is shared. And so athletes know what other athletes are getting for sure. And so that's the importance of being at a level and providing a standard that is equivalent to your peers and who you're recruiting against. Right? So that's the focus, and that when you bring that up, Todd, that's what makes me think of is how are we in giving the experience as compared to the people that we need to out-recruit. And that's the primary focus for us there. When we think about recognitions of excellence, it is, doing championship rings and dinners for teams that win, but it's also the Hall of Fame. So if I take you back to earlier this year when we had our Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony, and we put in Brittany Bisnott from women's soccer and Catherine Rafter, a pioneer in women's basketball, and our Frozen Four women's ice hockey team, and then Joe Mahalik, our legendary coach from the men's basketball side. Being able to put on events like that, which not only commemorate people in the recognition that they deserve, but also puts Niagara University and Purple Eagles athletics in a different mindset for people around the country. That having nights like that not only celebrate where we've been, but show who we are.
Unforgettable nights. Unforgettable nights. The Hall of Fame, the tribute dinner a couple nights prior. I was honored enough to be the MC for those events, and Simon and everyone out there, to this day, I will get some feedback about it, how that was a night that they won't forget. Not just the inductees, but attendees, people that were there at the event. Just fantastic. The other area that I want to talk about is national exposure and the goals and elevating the profile. I think about St. Peter's and the run that they were on in the NCAA tournament and how much exposure that has brought to the conference, and how, a school here in the Niagara Frontier can make its mark on the national landscape.
Yeah. I heard one time that a university president's job is to make the diplomas that institution gives more valuable. I think in athletics, our job is to make that president and his value to the diploma exponentially bigger. It's our responsibility to raise the exposure level of this institution on a national stage. And I believe college sports has the ability to do that. Right? So that's our job, is to raise the profile, raise the brand of our institution through sports.
One of the things that we should talk about is the fact that everything that you've just been able to chronicle, all the success, all the improvements, has happened with the MAAC's 10th ranked out of 11 budget, and how you're able to pull this together. So talk a little bit about how the success of the programs can unite the campus, the alumni, the community. We know we want to continue to strengthen that connection with the alumni. Talk about how important that is.
And it's fair to say that when you're looking at budgets, that it's not always apples to apples and oranges to oranges. And as I said earlier, I'm incredibly appreciative of the commitment and the investment that our institution puts into athletics, and it's our responsibility to go out and find those additional dollars. But what we do is we're very strategic in using the money that we have. We try to make every dollar that we use worth $10. So we look for projects where we can get much more return beyond the investment that we put in.
Next thing that I want to talk about is the fact how diversified the student body is, and that you can certainly attract local talent, but also international talent, 75%-ish domestic from over half of the 50 states, but 25% plus from 17 countries, a very international element to NU athletics.
Most years we have almost 60 Canadian student athletes, and some sports use the recruiting base in Canada more than others, but almost across the board we have Canadian influence, and it's wonderful because we're a binational institution. So that makes a lot of sense. When you look domestically, we do recruit a lot from Western and Central New York, but we have people from all over the country. Expanding that out beyond Canada, we have student athletes from all over the world, and what a wonderful experience they're bringing to this campus, because it goes, as we know, well beyond athletics. And so athletics has the opportunity through its programs and through its athletes to bring a focus on wellness and campus engagement and the vibrancy of the campus, the international factor, diversity and belonging, as we talked about. So we feel that we bring a whole lot more than just wins and losses.
And certainly everyone out there watching us today can make an impact. Giving Day, Sunday, April 24th, a chance for everyone to impact Niagara University. It's a campus-wide event. Last year, close to $400,000 in a variety of areas, almost $125,000 in athletics alone. Talk a little bit about annual Giving Day, Sunday, April 24th.
So institutional advancement has been a wonderful partner of the Department of Athletics and several areas around the campus. And this is an initiative that they have started and launched. Sarah Moretto has done a phenomenal job of coordinating everything and everybody's efforts on our campus, because the last thing we want to do is go out and do singular, siloed solicitations. So it's all worked through institutional advancement and their singular message around this. And it's a one-day chance for people to give, and several people have done matching gifts, which is always a fantastic initiative when they can come up and inspire other people by their own giving. And so that's been really helpful. But it's an opportunity for individuals in one day, although it spreads out over a couple days, I will say. It gives them the opportunity to give to their passion. And so whether it's a team or an academic area, the priorities of that area are laid out, and people can be inspired and invest through Giving Day.
And folks, you want to keep an eye out in the mail. There are team mailers going out. There's giving pages, of course, online. You'll see the link. And certainly, Simon, as we wrap up here with kind of our state of Niagara University athletics, you're in your 8th year. Just how much fun are you having, and how much do you look forward to the day when you wake up in the morning knowing what lies ahead and the impact that you can have and continue to have on the success of student athletes here at NU?
I'm incredibly blessed to be at Niagara University, and I mean that. My family and I are very happy in Western New York, and the reason we are is because of the environment that is around this institution. And so I'm jealous of the alums who went here and got to spend those formative years here, and I'm jealous of those who have given for years and have really had an impact for decades on this institution, but they've made it what it is. And so I feel very fortunate every day to be able to lead a department that is impacting lives, not only in the 350 student athletes that we have, not only in the 60 staff members, but well beyond that, as we've talked, because athletics can reach so many different people. And so it's really an honor and a blessing to be here in the Director of Athletics role.
Simon, thank you so much for your leadership and for your time today and helping to share the story of Niagara Athletics and how people can become a part of it very easily, part of the NU Giving, and everything you can do to impact Niagara Athletics. Simon, thanks so much.
Todd, thank you.
Well, folks, again, my name is Todd Callan from the Niagara Sports Network, and to all the NU alumni, fans of Niagara University athletics, and fans of Niagara University as a whole, it has been my pleasure to be with you here today, and we wish you a great afternoon.